The NBA just absolutely robbed Los Angeles Lakers as following the Lakers' fantastic stretch of play, something dropped that has Lakers fans absolutely fired up and livid. We're going to break that down, discuss what it means going forward, as well as multiple injury updates ahead of tonight's big game against New Orleans Pelicans. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, if you're part of the 89% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. We're on the road to the big goal of 20,000 subscribers. If you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to go over today. Now, obviously, the Lakers play tonight. They're on an absolute roll. We have some injury updates surrounding Luka Doncic. Of course, Hachimura remains out, but a couple other players as well, Austin Reaves. But the big storyline here, and it's something I want to touch on because it has Lakers fans pretty livid, is surrounding JJ Redick. Now, JJ Redick, in general, has been a phenomenal coach this season. Compared to what we had with Ham, man, oh man, is it a complete 180 turn. And again, a ton of injuries to the roster, but there's a bunch of things I want to dive over here. We'll dive into the report about Luka Doncic here in a minute, but I want to show you guys this right here. Now, the Western Conference Coach of the Month was Mark Daigneault. You can see this here. JJ Redick was robbed of Coach of the Month. Now, shout out to Mark Daigneault. He's a very good coach. The Thunder are a very good team. They're first in the Western Conference. They went 11-2. But when you're talking about coaches that deserved Coach of the Month, if there was ever a time, it was JJ Redick. And you can see this here. JB Bickerstaff on the Cavs side, and of course, the Thunder coach on the Western Conference side. And when you look at the Lakers and how good they actually did in the month of February, they were absolutely fantastic. And not only that, coming into the month of February, the big question mark was a few different things. Obviously, we had the Luka Doncic trade, how Luka was going to do, not only how Luka was going to do, how everyone was going to adapt around Luka Doncic. Injuries come up, all these different things following the trade deadline. But not only that, you can look at the schedule here for especially the second half of the month, right? You had Charlotte, you had Portland, which were two of the easier games, and they ultimately lost a little bit. But then you had Denver, Dallas, Minnesota, LA. They won every single one of those games to close the month. And those are very good teams, albeit Dallas now, they put up a crazy fight. Kyrie Irving, of course, Anthony Davis was down with an injury. But you played the Clippers twice, Minnesota, Denver Nuggets. You got up to, the Lakers did, the second seed now in the West by the end of the month. And I guess technically the second game against the Clippers wasn't in the month of February, but at the same time, they had such a good month of February. And if you actually watched the Lakers games, the adjustments that JJ Redick both makes on the fly, his preparation before, we know he said he didn't sleep after the Portland Trailblazers game because he wanted to be prepared for the game against the Nuggets. And he was. And they absolutely locked down Nikola Jokic, mostly due in part to, of course, the players, the personnel, but how JJ Redick schemed against Jokic. They put, of course, Rui Hachimura on him. They had a sneak defender coming. They were doubling all game. They took the ball out of his hands, and they held him to, I think, 7 field goals attempted or 4 field goals attempted. Something crazy in that game against Denver. And Luka Doncic also hadn't been playing great up until that point. So you look at that, paired with the fact that they were fantastic in the month of February, moving up now to the second seed, surpassing Memphis, surpassing Denver. I don't know how on earth, again, 11-2 for the Thunder coach, sure, that's fantastic. But when you're talking about actual coaches of the month here, I think you would have had to give it to the Lakers. And I think for JJ Redick, most fans would agree, like, obviously is a complete shift in both culture. I mean, we could think back to Ham. He would literally write in the clipboard, contest without fouling, and that would be the extent to which he would coach the players in the timeouts. And then you shift that to JJ Redick. JJ Redick has all the players' attention. He has LeBron's full cooperation, full attention, which is something he didn't have with Ham. We think back to LeBron James. He took the clipboard from Ham, and ultimately, of course, Darvin Ham ultimately went out and drew up plays himself. That would never happen under JJ Redick, or if it did, it would be, of course, because, I mean, they're all great minds of basketball, but the actual change in culture, this specific month, a lot of the wins can be contributed to how well JJ Redick has managed the depth chart for this team. And you look at it, he was the one who decided to play Jordan Goodwin when they signed him to the two-way deal and actually give him minutes. He's now a staple in the rotation, and he said going forward, he will be a staple in the rotation. He, of course, decided to keep Rui Hachimura in the lineup following the Dorian Finney-Smith trade, which was something that at the time, a lot of question marks, and still some people are questioning it. Rui Hachimura has continued to be one of the best players on the Lakers this year. Fits great with Luka Doncic, hits all of his spot-up corner threes, and having Dorian off the bench is great. Of course, now with Dorian Finney-Smith out, you have Rui Hachimura. With Rui Hachimura out, you have Dorian Finney-Smith replacing him. The lineup from JJ Redick, his rotations have been good, his lineups have been good, and it's been elevated now even more after the Luka Doncic trade. We saw some things, a little bit of a struggle early on in the season. There were some people saying, is JJ Redick ready for the job? He absolutely is. And now having to adjust on the fly, and we can't underestimate how difficult it is, albeit it is still Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the world, and one of the best players we've ever seen over the past decade. Having to adapt to, making that player feel not only comfortable, but adapting him to the scheme. Can't underestimate how hard that is, and underrate how hard that is for a coach, and he's done it absolutely seamlessly against a very difficult schedule. And maybe we can hope he can win it in March as they take on again the Pelicans tonight, and followed by New York, Boston, Milwaukee, Denver. It's going to be an absolute gauntlet. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. Do you think that the NBA robbed the Lakers? I think they absolutely did, and at the end of the day, as long as the Lakers win, who really cares when it pertains to, we can let the JJ Redick be slept on, and hopefully continue to come up with some fantastic game plans to get some of the best teams in the NBA. But a couple other things regarding the injury report. I covered it in yesterday night's video, but in case you did miss it, you can see this here. Lakers injury report. Doncic could miss the game versus the Pelicans. The Lakers will look for their 7th straight win and their 39th overall when they play the Pelicans tonight. LA is the heavy favorite in this matchup as they face a lowly Pelicans team that sits at 17-44. A little bit of a trap game, but also Doncic is listed as questionable with a right knee contusion. We remember he's gotten hit in the same knee 3 times. This is not the same injury that he was dealing with when he obviously went out at Christmas time. So that's at least good. LeBron James is probable. He's going to play. Luka Doncic, and Austin Reaves, like I mentioned yesterday, is also questionable, which is very encouraging. I don't think he plays tonight. I think they rest him until the Celtics on Saturday, but he is questionable, which is a lot better than doubtful or out. Jordan Goodwin dealing with the right ankle sprain is out. Of course, Hachimura is going to be out for at least another week. I would suspect he's out until mid to late March, but hopefully at the end of the day, he gets back and starts to rehab pretty quickly there. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a pretty interesting game tonight. Assuming they're missing Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves, you're going to have guys step up. We saw Dalton Knecht step up in the absence of Hachimura and Austin Reaves last game. Hopefully we can see Dorian Finney-Smith continue to play really well in the starting lineup. We saw him get, crack the double-digit mark in points for the first time in a while with 11 last game. Even Vando got 8 points, 9 rebounds. A lot of different players can step up, and it's kind of crazy to think how even Shake Milton, you're having him step up, Gabe Vincent, but it's crazy to think how important Jordan Goodwin is to this team as it pertains to just bench minutes. A great defender, good point of attack defender, and of course, a decent enough shooter to play under JJ Redick's scheme. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. A couple other things before I wrap up. I saw this interesting tweet here from NBA Central. Kendrick Perkins coming out. Are we sure that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league? I would have to say right now today that LeBron is the best player in the NBA. You can see this here from Clutch. LeBron James being called the best player in the world. Lakers are real contenders. Is this 2020 all over again? And it's a good point. I mean, LeBron, is he the best player in the world? I don't know if I'd say that quite yet. I mean, he's close, but at the same time, he is 40 years old. And if you're contributing age into it, absolutely. But it's going to be interesting. I wanted to see what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think LeBron is the best player in the world at this point? Given his age 40 season, I mean, he's the best player of all time. But is he the best player right now in the NBA? I mean, the fact that he's 40 and putting up these incredible numbers, and not only putting up incredible numbers, but leading the Lakers to multiple wins in both when Luka Doncic was out, when Anthony Davis was dealing with injury throughout the years, this year especially as well. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Things are getting crazy, and hopefully no more injuries happen, because I would like to see LeBron and Luka remain healthy. And again, LeBron is questionable tonight, which means there's a good chance that he is going to play in the game tonight. And for a 40-year-old to continue to do that through injuries, like I mentioned, to Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves, Anthony Davis, it's going to be interesting. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.